Hello everyone. We'll start with the CAI process. CAI is nothing but cloud application integration. So far we have seen cloud data integration. So that means for most of the project for ETL developer, we will work on the CDI part only. Okay. Some projects, yes, they will work on the CAI as well. So cloud application integration. So first we will see what is web service. So first of all, what is service? So if you ask, so what is meant by service? So if you have, okay, so you are going to a shop. Okay, assume that you are going to a shop and you are looking for some products. Okay, some product you are looking for. And you are searching for that product, but that particular product is not, you are not able to find that product. And you are going to that particular vendor and then you are asking, or the billing counter, you are asking that representative. So where is that product, right? So that question is like request. So you're asking something, then he will respond or she will respond, right? That will be a response. So if you have a client here, if you say for an example here, I have a client. So normally web service, this is what we will call it as. So here we have the client and here we have the server. So we can say it's like a service provider or whatever it may be. Okay, service provider or server. So this particular client, look at this particular client, he is going to request, okay, request something to this particular service provider. So this will be your request. This client will send a request to the service provider. So this client will ask some service, some request to this service provider. This will be your request. Okay. This will be your request. Then the service provider, for that particular request, they will provide a response, right? So here we will get the response. For the client, we will get the response. So this will be your response. So for the particular request, this will be our response. So normally this is what we will get always. So if it is on the internet, like if it is on the web or internet, okay, so it is called web service. Okay, so if it is on the web or internet, okay, so we can call it as it's a web service. And here the client is nothing but, so we are the client. Look at the client machine, the front end we are setting, and then we are typing something and we are requesting something to a server or the service provider. Then the service provider will respond to the request. So if it is happening, if the service provider is giving you the service, right? If it is happening on the web, it is called web service. Okay. Say for an example, I can take, okay, a service. If you ask what is web service, so what is web service? A service so provided from one application to another application, so over the web or internet, is called web service. So you'd have heard about this web service. See, for the web service, we have a lot of languages, right? So these languages you might have heard about, like you'd have heard about this XML, then this WSDL, then Java. So these kind of languages we would have seen. We do have a lot of protocols. A protocol like UDDA. See, these are all something like we have already seen some, if you have, and SOAP. So it is nothing but simple object access protocol. Okay, so SOAP, UDDI. So these kind of protocols we might have used, heard about this, right? So these are all the things we will use in our web service. Okay, so one example I will say, I will tell you one example so that you can easily understand what is this web service. For an example, we want to move from one location to another location. Say for an example, India to USA or India to some different location, Australia, some different location I want to move. So first of all, what we will do normally, so if I want to book a ticket, a flight ticket, if I want to move, then so two ways we can book a flight ticket, right? we can go to the respective the airlines and you can book the tickets. You can go to respective airlines and you can book the ticket, and or you can go to some service provider, right? We have some providers like Make My Trip. You assume that this is my Make My Trip. Okay. So I'm going to this Make My Trip, this particular website or applications from my mobile, okay, smartphones or applications or my system. So from Make My Trip to this particular airlines site, airlines. So how we will book? So we will search for this particular location from to and particular date. We will search it and a request from here from this client. Okay, this client will be this application. The request will be sent to this particular airlines. So do you think this particular airlines will give their database access to this particular Make My Trip or any other applications? Whether they will give access to any other third-party vendors? No, right? They will not give access to any other third-party vendors. Anyone, right? So if I have one bank, whether the other bank will give access to any other bank database? No, they will not give access, right? So what we will do? So normally this Make My Trip, okay? So we'll request to this airlines through a web, and this particular airlines will give a service through web, over the web. So this service is called web service. Okay, this airlines, right? This service is called a web service. So this will ask, okay, I need to book a ticket for my customer from this location to this location. Then they will give something like they will give some code or something. They will send a service through web. Okay, so that web is called, that service is called web service. So they will not give access to their DB. Say for an example, so Make My Trip also they will use some DB. So here also they will use some DB, right? So this particular airlines, if I'm booking, okay, say for an example, 100 tickets are available. Okay, for this particular location, 100 tickets are available. So from Make My Trip, I'm requesting, and then here I'm giving that response. This particular customer has booked the ticket, and this should be showing like 99, right? Showing like 99. The same thing should be reflected here also, right? Here also. Then only this particular application or somebody else, some other applications. Instead of Make My Trip, you can go for any other flight services, right? Sorry, the application to book a flight. So if they are booking, yes, the call, API call will be made to this particular database, and they will not give access to their database. They will give service over the web, is called web service. Okay. The interface we are going to have here, so that interface is called API. Okay, so application programming interface. So this is what will happen in the real-time projects whenever we are going for API related stuff. Okay, so if you ask what is API, so this is web service, right? So web service is nothing but service we are providing through web. So that is called web service. But for an example, what is meant by API? So can you tell one example for API? So API means, say for an example, I want to build a website. Okay, so I want to build a website, and here I'm going to build a website. Okay, assume that I want to build a website. So I'm giving some informations, and I want to make some users here. So I want to put some sign in button. Okay, do you want to sign in? So I can make some details. I can ask some details here, right? I can ask some details. And if you see some places, you might be seeing sign in with Facebook, sign in with Google. So all this you are able to see here, right? They are not asking all other information. So they will get the information you have already signed in with the Google or Facebook, right? So this kind of information you do have seen, right? So I'm going to sign in. So enter your email or password or something. They'll be asking the sign in button. Instead of that, they'll be asking okay, sign in using by Facebook, Twitter, or Google, something like this. So what is this actually? So if I'm going to build a website, okay, if I'm going to build a website, so instead of getting all the information and asking like sign in button from everything, so readily available APIs, okay, so you can get so that information from these service providers. So you can get those information and you can use these API codes into your page. So you can embed this API code into your page, then this sign in button, okay, sign in button, login button. So all this it will be showing here. So that means the reusability. So you are not going to do anything, and the customer can able to already logged in with the Google, then they can able to log in here, right? So that information we will get it from the respective service providers, Google or something. Say for an example, Zomato or Ola, Uber, these companies are using location to identify. Even I want to use a customer's locations. So here, or I want to show them where this particular place located exactly, right? I want to give some places here, address and their location. Then if they click on this particular location, then it is very easy to locate them to find my office address or my location, right? Then in order to use this location, I have to use the Google geolocation API. Okay. Say for an example, if I want to use something like sometimes they will ask this type of question, right? So this particular website would like to share your location with this site. If you are giving agree, then this particular Google, they will give your information to them, right? So that's what. See, this is one of the API we are going to embed here in our site. And then this location will be tracked by using the geolocation API. See, if I want to use in my website, they will be providing some API code. See here. So here we have to put our own API key. Based on that, they will give you this particular location. So you need to embed this particular code into your backend. Then so you can able to get the response from the geolocation API. So these are all some of the examples for APIs. Okay, normally we will use in our real-time project. We embed all the details into our website. Then you may ask, what is REST API? REST API or RESTful API. So what is REST API? Say for an example, the same architecture I'm going to explain. So RESTful API. So this is my client. Left hand side, I have my client. Okay. So client is nothing but our front end tool. You can front end tool, mobile or website or anything. Okay. Our desktop or anything you can take. So this is my client and this is our server. Okay. Web server. So we have web server, right? So application server is different. This is web server. So you assume that this is the company's web server here we have. Okay. So here we have web server. So this client will ask request. Say for an example, I'm just making my website. So www dot. So I'm going to enter this. I'm going to enter this particular location, this particular, and I'm getting some response, right? See that I'm getting some response here. So this response is coming from the web server. So this client is asking some HTTP request. Okay. So this is HTTP request. This request is called. So what is the request? It is called HTTP request. So we do have lot of methods. Okay. So if I want to get some informations from the server, then I will ask some method called get method. Okay. Something like I want to post something. I can say for an example, I want to post something. Okay. In the Facebook, I'm adding some comments. So that will be passed as a post method. I'm making some like. So these are all something like I'm deleting some post. Okay, so delete. So delete is the method. Patch. Okay, something like, so we do have different HTTPS request. We have, okay, so post we have, get we have, so also is some of the method. Okay, so different methods we have. It will be requested to this web server. Okay, this web server, all these methods. Okay, these are all called methods. These are all called methods. So extra, we do have different methods. This web server respond to this particular request. Whatever the request we are sending, for an example, this is a HTTPS request, right? HTTP request or HTTPS request, through different method it will ask. So for this request, this web server should respond. Okay, this web server should respond. So we will get response in different way. Okay, so response we will get different way. So what is this response? So this is our REST request. This will be our. So we will get these responses from specific format. Okay, so we will get the response like a specific format. If you see this particular site, you can get the response different format, right? So we are seeing the picture and you are seeing the videos. So all this you are able to see the forms and everything you are able to see here, right? So these are all called response. So for this response, for different specific format, you will get, like you may get like a HTML page as a response, right? So you might be getting that response as HTML page. You can get images, right? You can get the videos. You can get something like even the different site. Okay, so you are going for JSON response. You may get XML response. See, different responses we may get. Okay, so this is called resources. Okay, this was resources. Resources means we are getting some resources from the web server. We are getting some resources. Okay. In addition to this resource, we will get something called, this is called resource. And second one is called status code. Okay. Sometimes you are some URL you are typing it and HTTP request is made to the web server and the particular page is not available. The host itself is not available. Then what is the response code we'll get? 404 response code we'll get it, right? The same way, if it is successful, then you'll be getting response code as 200. See, different response code we might be getting from the web server to the client. Okay, so we'll get resources, we'll get status as a transfer. Okay, as a transfer, as a transfer. See, resources and status. So this is called representational state. Okay, so what is this? Representational status state transfer. So REST API, REST is nothing but it is a representational state transfer as a data resources. We are transferring it from here. Say for an example, get method, post method, put delete methods. All this it is requesting. This web server is responding with XML, JSON format, HTML page, or a different way of response. We are getting it here, right? So that's what we will get a response. So REST API is nothing but representational state transfer. So this is called REST API. Okay, so what is this? So representational state transfer, REST API. So if you see this in this particular architecture, client and web server architecture, in between, okay, so in between some interface is happening. Okay, in between. So here some interface is happening between the client and web server. Okay, so client and web server, we are giving some interfaces. See, this interface is called it as REST API. So what is this? This interface is called it as REST API. So whatever the interface we are seeing here, so that particular interface is called it as REST API. So this is what we'll have REST API here. Okay, so I hope you are clear. So what is this REST API? And yeah, sometimes they will call it as it's a RESTful API, right? So everything is similar only. Or we can say it's a representational state transfer API. So application programming interface. So this interface is called it as REST API. So how this will be used in our IICS? So that's what we are going to see here. So what is web service? Yes, we have seen web service as a service over the network is called web service. Over the web is called web service. And API is nothing but application programming interface and REST API. So all this we have seen. And how this will be used in our IICS. Say for an example, from the front end, from the application, our IICS needs to consume the data, or from IICS need to send post some data to the applications. I have to use CAI or I have to use web service transformation. So we have already seen, so what is web service? So what is REST API, all this. So you remember we have seen what is this the REST API, right? So representational state transfer. So this is the API, and we have SOAP API also. The SOAP API is like a legacy one, but we are mostly in real-time project. So nowadays we are using this REST API only, representational state transfer API. So we have the web server here and we have the client. So from the client to systems, how the communication will be. So through API calls, right? So we have already seen that. So now we will continue with, we have seen, so how to connect with different process. Okay, so different, so you can search in online saying that some public API. Okay, so public API to connect. So we do have a lot of APIs. So you can connect with some APIs. Okay, so if you take these APIs are free. Okay, so something like you can use it. So covidapi.com. So they are sending some, they do have some APIs, and you can see here some APIs are available here. Okay, so this is a get method. I want to know the region wise regional names. Okay, and I want a list of reports. Today's some COVID reports. Okay, so I want all this. So just you can go here. So you can click on this kit, and they can pass some parameters, like two parameters you can pass, and it will send you the response. Okay, you know how to test it through Postman, right? So Postman also I have explained. So go to Postman. So open the Postman. You know how to install the Postman, right? So already I have explained. So if you see here, you can go to one more tab here. Okay, so here we can go to one more tab, and if I want to test it, so this one, so try it out. Okay, so I'm going to get request URL. So this is a URL. So if you see this URL, so I'm passing some country code and date. So based on that, I'm getting some response. Okay, response I'm getting. So if you are passing country code India, yes, you'll get different response, right? Different data. So that I'm going to, so here the method is get method. I'm going to paste it here. So these two are parameters, just a setting. I'm getting the response, right? Yes. So you can pass different data also, different country also. So I'm just trying to pass India. So whether I'm getting different data, yes, I'm getting different data. So based on the parameters, I'm getting different response, right? So from the server. So the two things, one is get method. Yes, we can get the data from APIs, and through APIs we can server, web server, you can get the response to IICS, right? That's what we have seen previously through web services transformation. Now, so how to create our own API? So from Informatica Cloud, can we create our own API? Can we read the data from this web services to our IICS? Yes, we can get all this. Okay. If we go to runtime environment, so I didn't do anything, just I have reinstalled one more time. So now in this new system, the process server is up and running. Okay, so that's what you can see here, that process server. So this process server should be up and running to create the CAI process. Okay, so CAI we have a lot of topics. For CDI, how we have data integration, administrator, these two services we have on monitor. The similar way, we have for API, we have the application integration console. And we have API manager, API portal. But here I'm going with application integration console, application integration service. So here you can find create a process and create an application connections. So all this, right? So everything. So this one we can see, and I'm going to create one process. So just you can go to new. So create a process. You can create application connection, service connections, all this. So service connection is nothing but to connect with web services. Rest are SOAP connections, right? So that's what you will connect service connectors. So I will create a process. So how to create a process, our own API, how to create it. Okay, so just to go to this process, so I will give you one document. So just to follow this document, you can able to complete it. So everything I have given step-by-step explanations, so you can use. Okay, say for an example, I'm going to use. So this is the first process I'm going to use. So process name I'm going to use. So process underscore my first process. It's like same like a task flow, right? So you can see here some task steps are available, right? Steps are available, assignment, service, and sub process. So you can create a new object. Okay, to receive some event. Yes, you can go for receive. Okay, so all this you can see one by one here. Okay, so but here, if you open, so this is what you'll have general. So in general tab, you can give start steps. Type is start. And name, yes, we need to give. And API name, no need to give. Okay. Location is the folder, which project I'm going to use. If you want to write some descriptions, yes, you can write some description here. Some descriptions. I want to write some descriptions. Yes, I can go for some descriptions. So I can write. Okay, but I'm not going to do anything. Just I have given only name. So now I'll go to the start. So here go to start. You can see here binding. So we have two types of APIs, right? One is REST API, another one is SOAP API. So for REST API, SOAP API, this is the binding we have to use. If you're going for any event, and then you have to use event. So but here we're going to use only REST and API. So allowed groups. In real-time projects, yes, we will have the groups. So we'll have the user roles, user groups, all this. We are all working in one particular project, and they will create a one group. They will assign a role for that group. So whoever is having the role, they can able to access this particular process. Okay, that's what the allowed group. So this will be handled by admin team in real-time project. They will create this allowed groups, allowed users. So just we are going to take that group name only. But here I'm going to take, so whatever the user I have, right? So that user I'm going to take. Okay, so this is my username. So that means, so this user alone can able to connect. Okay, this user alone can able to access this. Others cannot able to access. So that's what the meaning. Okay, so only this, and I'm not going to use anything. So if you want to run this process on your local server, yes, you can give your local agent. Okay, but here API I'm going to, since it's a public API, I'm going to call run on cloud server. Okay, so you can use in real-time project. Yes, you will use the local security agent only. See why I have explained this COVID API. So you remember yes, last time when we are seeing that API, we are seeing this API similar to this API. So you can use like public API data for free. If you search in Google, you will get a lot of APIs. Okay, this is one of the API. And similar way, we are going to create our own API like this. Okay, so that's what we are going to create now. So how to create it? See, after that, cloud server, that's it. Don't do anything here. Just you can give only allowed users. If you want to restrict the access to this particular user, yes, you can give this username. Okay, go to input field. So input field, if you see this API, so what is the input field here for this API? The input is date, a report date. So which date I want to generate a report, right? And then some country. based on some ISO code. So this is what I have. I'm going to send two things. So if I'm going to send these two data, it will send a response, right? Yes. The similar way. So here also we are going to use the same thing, right? Yes, we are going to use the same thing here also. So just I'm going to pass some username, password, all this, right? So that it will send, okay, the authentication successful or something. So this is my input. So what I'm going to pass some input. So just to click on the plus symbol, you can pass some input here. So you can put some input. So I'm going to make username. Okay. So if you want to pass, if you want to make it like a mandatory field, yes, you can make it like mandatory field. So you want to pass some password, yes, you can put some password also if you want. Okay. So username, password, I'm going to pass it and I'm going to, that's it. So I'm not going to do anything here and go to output field. So what output I need to get from the API, right? So I want to get output. Okay, some response. Okay, something like API response or something you can post it here. So response message. Okay, so here it's a text. And if you want to put some initial value, so that means if it is not responding through the server, then you can put some initial value. Okay, by default value, but normally you will not put it. So just you can make it like these two field. Input is nothing but input parameter we are passing. These two are input like this, right? But if I'm going to execute, it is sending me the response. This is the response, right? So these details I'm sending. Steps I have given, just follow this particular document. It's like a completely I have given step by step. Okay. So step by step I have given all this. So how to use it. So this is what I have to use. And the temporary field, if I want to make any temporary calculations, expression transformation, we have some temporary calculation, right? So if you want to make some temporary field, yes, you can make it. That field you can, if you want to assign it to output field, yes, you can put that temporary field here. Messages, if you want to put some messages, advanced and notes. So all this, if you want to make it, so here you can make it. But so as of now, we are making only input field, output field, and start button. So, but what is the response I need to get? So that's what we have to. So in between, we have to process it. So to give a standalone output, I'm going to use assignment task. So this assignment task, I'm going to make it like, so API response. So just I'm going to give some name of the task, assignment task, go to assignments. And this assignments, you can click on the plus symbol. Okay. So I have given everything here. So which one I have to select? So what is the response I need to get? Right. So I have to select this response message. So this response message. So you want to put something like you want to put some content. Okay. You want to put some field formula. Yes, you can put here, right? So you can go for formulas and content. Means constantly you'll get formula means yes, based on this, you'll get the formula, right? So you can put some formula here. Okay, so hi or hello. So you have to put the username. The current user you can put or the username which I'm going to print it. So I will put current user also. So you can put current user, then concatenation, then you can make the user authenticated successfully. The response I'm going to get it from the API is this is the way. But you want to check it in the database, all this, that you have to write it, the code. But we are not going to write in the database connection and all. Just we are checking, just we are printing that hello, that username, and then the authenticated successfully. That's it, the response I'm going to get it. Okay. So click on OK here and save this. Okay. So just we have created one simple process to get the output, right? Yes. So for every process, we have to publish it. For every process, we have to publish. So for CDI, no need to publish, right? But CI, we have to publish it into the server. So through the API, right? Web services, that's why we have to publish it. So click on publish here. So it will show you like the asset was published successfully. I have published. After publishing, you can go to this and you can see the properties detail. Okay, so just to click on the property details and you can see, so this is what it is showing, like published by, and status is still active. Okay, and you are getting that endpoint is two endpoint. So what is that endpoint? Yes, one is this REST API URL and another one is SOAP API URL. Okay, this is what the URL we are getting. See how we depend on this URL. The similar way we have created our own URL. So last time we have seen web service transformation to read the data from the API. Now we are sending the data, right? So you can take this REST API URL. So just to copy this URL, okay? You can go here. So you can paste it here. Okay. So, but for this, you have to make this question mark like this. You have to put the username. So like this, you have to put username. And if you want to put password, yes, you can put password, but that is not mandatory one, right? Yes, this is the URL. Question mark, and you have to put your all your input parameter. So one more input parameter, you can put one more question mark. But I'm not using that parameter and all here, just I'm using only username, right? Yes, you can copy this and you can run it here, right? Okay, so I'm getting that hello, the current user. See, since I have used the current user, it has taken the username. But I want to put, so my name alone, whatever I'm passing from here, so that name alone I want to get it, then I have to pass that name here, right? The user authenticated successfully. That's what the response I'm getting. So since if you go and execute this particular line, you will not get the result. So why? Because it's like, so in my system, I have already logged in with my credential, right? That's why it is able to display. But if I want to get this details, so from the postman, say for an example, from here I have to get. So go to new tab. It's like get method, right? Yes, you can see the get method. You can paste it here. So similar, I'm going to paste it. So I'm going to send. See, we will not get the response. So what is the response we are getting? We are getting response like 401 status code unauthorized. So 401 is unauthorized user. So since the request has not been applied because it lacks valid authentication credentials for the target response. See here I have given authentication method, right? So while I have created, I have given some authentication method in the process, right? So here I have used allowed users. This user alone can able to access it, right? Yes, I can go to the postman here. So here we have authentication method. So you can go with in postman. Yes, this is one of the testing tool, right? So front end API testing tool. So normally this is what the API tester they will do it. So you can go to type. You can use some authentication method. So here I'm going for basic authentication. I can use my username and I can put some password. Okay. So I'm using password here. So I put some dummy password. So you can see here it is now has been authorized. Okay. So we are getting the status code 200 and this is the response time from our server. So from where it is running. See, if I'm going to send, so this has been the request has been sent to Informatica cloud server, right? The cloud server will hit and then the published process, it will return the data. So clear. So how to create our own API. So this is what you have to use the process and the CAI process. So you can go more and more on CAI. Okay, just you start practicing it. But this is completely on API all this. Okay. So if you want to unpublish it, yes, you can go for unpublish here. Okay, unpublish and you can do the changes and then again you have to publish it. So if you want to do some changes, okay, I do not want the current user. I want to go for the different way. Then you can go for username. I have to put, just I'm making the username. So click OK, save this. But now I'm going to publish it. I have to publish it. Without publishing, if I'm going to execute, it will not be executed. See here, now it is printing with this username, right? Yes.